In this video, I'll demonstrate how to work with multiple elements of IList collections using their appropriate range methods. If you recall in our introduction video on collections, video 2030, we talked about how to manage entire groups of elements. There's a number of different range methods like the insert range, add range, remove range, set range, get range. All these things we're going to talk about in this video. So I've already created a small Visual Basic console application called iList Ranges VB. And what I've done was created 3 array lists. The first array list, actually 4 array lists. I have an empty array list that will have different cars added to it using the different range methods that we'll demonstrate in a moment. Then I have 3 different array lists, one called sports cars. I add a Dodge, a Viper, Jaguar, and Mercedes to it. I have an SUV array list. I add a Honda Pilot, an Excursion, and a Suburban. And then an older cars, and this is the unfortunate list. This is the list of cars I've owned throughout my life, which include a Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme in 1985, and then when I wrecked that, a Cutlass Supreme in '86. A Geo, a Plymouth, and a Nissan. And what we'll do is, first of all, demonstrate the get range. And what we'll do is we'll walk through these. After we get the range, we'll assign it to the cars, the empty collection of cars, and then we'll loop through and see now what is in the cars collection. Now, though I'm using an array list, you can use any of the iList or even iDictionary for that matter, any of the range methods across any of these the iList or iDictionary interfaces. So let's go ahead and run this. I hit F5 and I get to my first breakpoint. So after we do the get range, it's added the GeoPrism and the Plymouth Grand Voyager. Let's see exactly what we did here. We said get the range, begin at item 2, and give me the next 2 items. So what we did, we started with the older cars, get range. We started at number 2, which is 0, 1, 2, the Geo and the Plymouth. And we returned those and put those into our car collection. So that's how you use the get range. Now we're going to use get range on the SUVs collection and add that to the cars collection. We add it using the add range. The add range will add it to the very end of the cars collection. Let's go ahead and just hit F5 to hit the next breakpoint, which means we've run all of this code here. Now let's see what we have. After the add range, we have the Geo and the Plymouth like we did in the first example, and we added to it the Ford Excursion and the GMC Suburban. So we did a get range 1 and 2. So let's take a look at the SUVs. We started at element 1, so 0, 1, and we added the Ford Excursion and the GMC Suburban 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and run this again, and this time we're going to use the insert range on sports cars. So the insert range picks a spot in the cars collection and then inserts into it all of the sports cars. So let's take a look at what we have. So it picked a location, if we recall that was 3, so we have 0, 1, 2, and then 3 is here at the bottom, the Suburban, and between there we add the Dodge Viper, the Jaguar, and the Mercedes. That allows us to insert in between. Now let's run the next chunk of code. It's the set range. Set range allows us to specify a beginning point and then to take all of the items and overwrite whatever's returned. In this case, we're doing a get range on the older cars, and overwrite all of the items that are returned from this on top of the cars collection. So let's take a look at what we did. So after set range, here we have the GeoPrism and the Cutlass Supreme. Now notice what happened. We selected position 1 that we begin our insert, and we said I'm sorry, here we are. We would get the next two items. So we start at position 0 and get the next two items. So if you look here, it was a Cutlass Supreme, it was the 85 and the 86 Cutlass Supreme models. Scroll back down. And so we inserted those actually on top of the Geo and the Plymouth. Additionally, I'm sorry, we didn't overwrite the Geo because the Geo started after position 1. The Geo was on position 0. So we leave the Geo alone and we insert over the top of the Plymouth and the Ford the two Oldsmobiles. And then the rest are just fine, the Dodge, the Jaguar, the Mercedes, and the GMC, just like from the previous example. So that's how the set range works. And then finally we'll do the remove range by selecting F5 again. And the remove range takes a beginning point and the number of items you want to remove. So we say beginning in position 1, so that should leave our GeoPrism alone, but then delete the next 4 items. So let's see what we have. The Geo is still there, but notice that the next 4 items, the two Oldsmobiles, the Dodge and the Jaguar, are all removed, and what's left is the Mercedes and the GMC. So that's how you manipulate ranges of items within the within your collections using the range, the various range items: the remove range, the insert, the set range, the get range, the add range, and so on.